Every leadership challenge is different, but are there some scenarios that are more common than others, and how do you handle them? Well, welcome back to our 5th session on leadership in Project Eli, where we educate, lead, and inspire. I'm Eli's dad and mentor, and you're invited, as always, to eavesdrop on our lesson. You know, of course, Eli, each leadership situation has its own unique challenges. Remember, we said leadership is an art as well as a science. You'd be surprised, however, that there is much more science than art. Let's look at a different scenario too, shall we? Now, you may find yourself in a situation where you're replacing an ineffective leader. The first thing you do is you set up your structure. Now, you may find that some of the people in the highest positions of your structural hierarchy remain intensely loyal to their previous leader. The next thing you do is you call a leaders meeting and explain the reason that you're there is because their previous leader was not getting the job done. Be frank, but not adversarial. Then explain what your vision is for the business. Explain to them that during our leaders meetings, it is expected that people will speak their minds freely and constructively, and opposing points of view will be respected. Further, it is essential to have their opinions because they're the ones in the trenches. However, it must be clearly understood that once we leave the meeting and a decision's been made, that everyone is united behind that decision no matter what. No exceptions. Leadership must have a united front. Warning: when you take over from an ineffective leader, some of the people want to cling to the ineffective policies or techniques of the past, usually because they don't want to change what they've been doing because they were comfortable. Call the transgressors into your office one-on-one and tell them you appreciate their skills and time served, but if we're to move forward, we must make some changes. Now, if you disagree with the game plan, come into my office and sell me on why your way is right and my way is wrong. When the decision is made, however, we will proceed together or one of us will not be here. One warning only. Now, I had to do this myself when I took over the San Diego office. It's not my favorite part of the job, but it is essential that you have a united front as your leadership core. Letting people go is never fun. Now, a good way to figure out what to do in a difficult situation is to remove yourself from the equation. How do you do that? You pretend that the leader from another office is coming to you for advice. When you listen to the scenario, because you don't know any of the personalities involved, the advice that you give will be an unemotional business decision. And in 99% of the cases, it'll also be the right decision. By the way, just as a small aside, Eli, there was a situation and challenge that you had presented to your mom and me a few years ago when you were much younger. Now, I can't remember what you did or you didn't do. I just remember that your mom kept wanting me to give you more and more chances and accept your excuses. Well, I let your mom decide on the first course of action because if mommy's not happy, then nobody's happy. But the second time it happened, as Bob Anderson would say, I had a business meeting with the spouse. I asked your mom to pretend that your aunt was having the same trouble with your cousin that we were having with you. What advice would you give her? The solution was obvious. We needed to get your attention. Now, please forgive me now for the spanking you had to take then. Believe me, it hurt me more than it hurt you. What I want to give you now are some effective ways to train. Are you interested? Great. Now, when you're training people, and this means everybody, you want to make them think and to have fun. When you coach a team, there are endless drills to perform to create muscle memory for your players. You do this so that during the game, the players are not thinking about their movements, but rather they're thinking about responding to the movements of the competition. Now, when you're a business coach and the drills you were using are tedious, create a competition where the winner gets to watch while the losers have to perform some arduous task. Now, competition is fun, and the good-natured trash talking helps to unify and drive the team. In a business setting, challenge the team with a competition such as who can give the fastest presentation, or which team will produce the most results, or you'll think of your own competitions. But remember the training mantra: competition equals cash. It works. Now, when you're training those in your organization, the best way to prepare your people for the game is to role play. You role play everything. Let me give you a few examples. Now, when I worked in the insurance business, it was important to be able to give a great presentation to the client. But before you can give a presentation, you had to be able to get into the client's house. Now, we started our training with how you knock on a door. That's the way you knock on a door. We had a specific, friendly knock. We role-played the knock. Then, when the prospective customer came to the door, we role-played what to say. We role-played to all the possible responses that the customer might give you at the door. We role-played qualifying the customer at the door. We role-played saying, "May I come in?" We called this whole process the door approach. Now, if you've never gone door knocking, you're going to find that it can be a very intimidating, easy for me to say, intimidating act for he or she that is knocking. But you build courage and perseverance through drill, practice, and rehearsal. Now, when you role play, you have the opportunity to see what your trainees are doing right and wrong. Obviously, you reinforce correct technique and you correct faulty performance. Additionally, you may also learn a new technique from a performer that you hadn't even thought of. Now, another thing that happens that is incredibly positive is when they ask you, the leader, to role play and to be the performer. Now, when they switch roles with you, they're about to give you the scenarios that are causing them difficulty and hardship in the field. When you solve these issues for them, you've accomplished two important things. First, you've answered their question and uncovered an area that needs work. And second, you've established more credibility for yourself as the leader. Now, here's a major irony of teaching and training. Most of the time, the trainer will learn more than the trainee. Now, let me give you a negative example that emphasizes the point of training. A couple of years ago, the executive director where I worked decided that we should have a person meet and greet our patrons when they walk through the doors. Just say hello, welcome to, meet and greet. But all she did was assign people to perform this task an hour at a time. The only people that were able to effectively perform this task were the director herself and me. Why? It's pretty simple, right? Just saying hello, welcome. Never assume. Always begin training by explaining the why and because. Always explain what you're trying to accomplish. Always show the trainee how to do it. Always observe the trainee performing. Always track the results. Now, does that sound familiar? That's the peso system, isn't it? It's always necessary to give, as Mr. Anderson always said, CCDD. Clear, concise, definite direction. Our director, in her wisdom, blamed the performance. When a seemingly simple task that has been assigned is not performed as expected, you should first inspect to see if the proper direction was given and received. Never assume that your instructions are understood. Always have the performer regurgitate the directions back to you and give you feedback to be sure they know what is expected. This minimizes greatly errors in communication. Now, when you're coaching the Frostsoft basketball team, one of the things you work on every day is clock management. Let's say you want to hold the ball for the last shot of a quarter. How do you do that? When should the shot be launched? Who do you want shooting the ball? These are all relevant questions. And if you have not drilled, practiced, and rehearsed this scenario, how can you expect 14 and 15-year-old kids to know the right thing to do? Eli, take it from me. You never forget when you cost your team a chance to win a game. My junior year in high school, we were trailing by 1 point, and I received the ball with about 4 seconds left to play. It was our second game of the year, and I didn't have much game experience. I passed the ball instead of taking the shot. Too late. After the game, it seems everybody, including Lazarus, came forth and asked me why I hadn't taken the shot. Yeah, I should have known better, but do you think if we had practiced that scenario, I would have been more attuned to taking the shot? We had never practiced for that possibility. Do you think that when I became a coach, we practiced that possibility every day? Let failure be your teacher. Role play all common scenarios with your business team too. Now, next time we get together, we'll be focusing on change, or how to make change for $1. Make sure you are subscribed and that you ring the bell so you'll be notified, and don't forget to review the description box as always. And if you found this worthy, please share it with your friends as well. Our thought for today: courage is what it takes to stand up and speak. It's also what it takes to sit down and listen. And because we never end a meeting on a philosophical note, get out there and charge! I'm Eli's dad.